Okay, let's formally start the proceedings for today, week number 9, and this is lecture number 1. So, in the previous lecture, we started with this topic string, right? I told you that basically, when you are writing a program, there are many occasions when you have to deal with textual data, right? For example, you have to store the names of people or the names of cities or addresses or email. So all of these are actually, you can say, examples of textual data. And in order to store text data in your program in variables, right, you can take an array of characters, which is the C style, or you can also use the string class, which is available in C++ library, right? So the advantage of string class is that it makes your life pretty simple. There are many, you can say, built-in functions available which allow you to manipulate string data, right? And last time we had seen that many operators are overloaded for this class as well. So we had seen few operators where you can concatenate the two strings using the plus operator. And then you also have relational operators like less than, greater than, equal to, not equal to, which are very useful, right? Why they are useful? Because you see, if you have to sort, you can say, names of students, right? So for sorting, you need to compare two strings, right? That A should come before B should come before C, right? So normally, whenever we have some data, we like the data to be in some specific order, right? It must be sorted so that we can easily find the information that we are looking for. So these operators actually can be helpful because they allow us to compare two strings, right? So today we'll continue our discussion, right? We'll see some, as I told you, frequently used functionality of string class, right? But of course, there are some other functions as well, which are not very frequently used. So if you want to use them, you can always go through the details of the string class, right? Because otherwise we'll only be spending a lot of time on exploring this one particular class, right? So today we hope to complete this discussion, right? So let's see some more, you can say, useful functionality of this string class. Okay, so maybe we start with this one, right? So as you know that sometimes you may need to access the individual characters of a string, right? Maybe this O, B, J, or so on, right? So it is fairly simple. Just like you use an array of characters and you have the indices, the same applies here, right? You have a string object, but at the back end, it is like an array, right? So you have basically 0, 1, 2, and so on. So you have O, B, J, and so on. And every character has an index starting at index 0, right? So the first character at position 0, then 1, 2, and so on. So if you want to access an individual characters, you can use exactly the same syntax which you use with, you can say, array of characters, right? For example, if I want to store the first character in a variable, so s1 of 0 is actually talking about the first character, right? Similarly, this is actually talking about the second character and so on, right? And similarly, when you are dealing with characters, an important thing is that you should know how many characters are in a string, right? So for that, again, you have useful functions. Basically, there are two functions, but they do exactly the same thing, right? If you have a string, you can call the length function or the size function, right? They are doing exactly the same thing. They tell you the total number of characters in a string, right? And it does not include the null string. Okay, for example, if the string is like ABC, so the total number of characters is 3. So you see, this is very useful. You can find the total number of characters in the string, and then you can use a for loop, and you can use the you can access the characters one by one and do whatever processing you like, right? As I'll show you in the next example. So let's do an example and see how these fairly simple functions help us solve something useful, right? Suppose you have to count the number of words in a string, right? And we assume that whoever has written, they have followed proper formatting conventions, right? So whenever there's a new word, there's a space, right? So there's a sentence in which you have to find how many words are there in the sentence, right? So maybe I can write a sentence like string S is, say, maybe today is Tuesday of April, something like that. Okay, so we have a, you can say, a sentence, and we have to find the number of words in this sentence. Okay, so you see, in a sentence, we expect that anyone who is writing, the words are separated by spaces. Okay, so if somehow we can count the number of spaces in this, okay, for example, this is one space, two, three, four. Okay, so if there are four spaces, then it means that there are likely to be five words. Okay, of course, you can say that someone can type the space two times, or someone can skip the space, right? So, but we are not assuming that. We are assuming that anyone who is typing this sentence, he or she is following the correct way, right? There are no extra spaces or no missed spaces. Of course, only then this will work. Okay. If that is the situation, we have some other sophisticated ways, but we are actually doing it in a very, very simple way. Okay, so we are assuming that there's only a single space between two words, right? Now what we can do, it's fairly easy. We can actually um, check every character one by one, and then we take a variable spaces. Whenever we find a space, we increment it. Okay, so it's fairly simple. Actually, you have to count how many spaces are there. So I take a variable spaces, I initialize it to 0. Okay, then I have to check every character. So since I need to access the individual characters, so I will use a for loop. So I will say for int I starting at 0, I less than. Now how do I know how many characters are there? So I use the function s dot length, or you can use s dot size. Okay, so it means it will give you the total number of characters in this string, and then you say I plus plus. Okay, now what we need to do, we are actually checking every character. So we just need to say if, for example, the current character is a space. Okay, so this is actually a blank character. Then what you need to do, you need to increment this variable. Okay, so what will happen with this, it will visit every character turn by turn, and whenever there is a space, it will add one to this, you can say, variable, right? So eventually, if everything is fine, then it will tell you 1 2 3 4. There are four spaces in this, you can say, sentence. So it means that the total number of words will be spaces plus 1. Okay, so this is how you can actually count the number of words. It's a very basic way, right? But since our focus is on exploring the functions of string rather than making an algorithm, so that's why you see here we have seen, you can say, application of the length function, a for loop, and accessing the individual characters of a string, right? So a very fairly simple program, but you can extend this program for many other things as well, right? For example, you can, if someone asks you how many vowels are there, okay, so you see it's fairly simple. You can simply use if, and you can say if character is a, e, I, o, u, you can use the or within the if, so you can actually count the number of vowels, right? Similarly, you want to count the number of digits or something like that. So there are functions available, right, which tell you whether a number is a digit or not. Or you can also use the if condition with their ASCII code, right? You can check from the ASCII table that what is the code of 0, what is the code of 9, and then you can check whether your character is lying within that range. Okay, so you see it's fairly simple. You can extend this program to actually count many useful things within a string, right? Okay, so now let's see another useful function, right, which allows us to solve many complex problems. The functionality is very simple, but we can smartly use it to actually do something very useful, right? Whenever we are talking about string, there's a concept which is called substring, right? Now, what is substring? Substring is actually a small part of a string, right? For example, if I say string is product, so what are the possible substrings? I take these three characters, so rod is a substring. I take these four characters, this duck is a, you can say, substring, right? But of course you have to pick in sequence. You cannot say I will pick r, d, and t, right? That is not meaningful. You can pick a small part of a string, but in sequence, right? You cannot skip characters in that. So that is actually called a substring, and it is very useful when we are dealing with string. So if we have to do that, we have a function available. I'll explain it in detail. The name of the function is substring. Okay, it takes two arguments. The first argument is the position, that from where you want to pick. Okay, and the second argument is the number of characters you want to pick. I will explain with example, don't worry about that. I'm just introducing that how the function works. There's also an overloaded version of this function, right, which takes only one argument, right? So let me explain both of these functions with a concrete example so that we develop a good understanding of how it works. Okay, so I'll take a string and then I'll call this function in different ways so that we can develop an understanding of this. Okay, so I say string s1 is, okay, abc space def, and maybe rather let me just keep the same example which is in slides so that you can, when you see the slides, you have exactly the same thing. Okay, so we have AB and then we have, I think, CDE after a space, and then we have this thing. Okay, now we will be calling the substring function in different ways just to discuss how it works. Okay, and I will be storing the result in another string. So I say string s2 is s1 dot substring. You see dot, why dot? Because s1 is an object. So when you call function of a class, you write object name dot. Okay, so this is a member function, and whatever answer it returns, you will store it in s2. Okay, so suppose here I write 0, 3. Okay, I'll explain what we are trying to do. Now, what is it saying? The first argument is the position. Okay, so what was s1? S1 was A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, right? And we know that the position, they are actually indices. So this is actually 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so the first argument is position. So this is saying that go to position 0. It means it is saying go to A. Okay. The second argument is the number of characters you want to pick. Okay, so how many characters we want to pick? We want to pick 3 characters. So what are 3 characters? A, B, and space. Okay, so this S2, what will be this S2? If you print it, so this S2 will be A, B. Of course, there is a space, we can't see it, right? But we have picked 3 characters. So you see the first argument is go to this position, pick 3 characters. Okay, some of the students say it is like pick everything from 0 to 3. Like, so pick everything from 0 to 3. It is not like that. Okay, because it is this 3, this is not start and end. This is position, this is number of characters, right? So please be careful that, because it can be something like this, go to position 3 and pick 3 characters, right? So go to position 10 and pick 3 characters. So don't treat it as 0, 2, 3, right? Because sometimes this number can be bigger than the number which you have as a second argument, right? So the first argument is the position from where you want to pick, and the second argument is the number of characters we want to pick. Okay, so maybe we do some more examples so that we get some good idea of how it is working. Okay, so let me just write its output so that we do remember that what was going on. So we agreed that it is going to position 0 and picking 3 characters. So the output is basically, its output is actually A, B, and there's a space as well. Okay. Now I'll write maybe string s3 is s1 dot substring. Suppose I write 3, 3. Okay. Now can you tell me what it should be? You can just type the string in the message window what it should be. Go to position 3 and pick 3 character. Yeah. Can you quickly help me write it?
C D E.
Yes, CDE. Good. You go to position 3 and then you actually pick 3 characters, right? So it's CDE. Okay, so you see we are going to this position 3 and then we are picking 3 characters. So this is like CDE, right? Similarly, let's do one example where we only give one argument. When you give only one argument, what it will do? It will go to position 3 and it will pick everything till the end of the string, right? So it means since we are not giving the second argument, if we give only one argument, it is position. So it will go to position 3 and it will pick everything till the end of the string, right? So what it will be? It will be C, D, E, F, G, H, right? So it's up to you if you know the end position or how many characters you can do that. If not, you can just pass one argument. It will pick everything till the end of the string. Okay, now maybe I quickly show you the same program on the slides, right? So this is a program we discussed in detail. We have go to position 0, pick 3 characters, go to position 3, pick 3 characters, right? And if we pass only one argument, it picks everything till the end of the string, right? So this it looks a very simple function, but we'll see in the subsequent examples that how you can use this simple function to solve some you can say a very complex problem, right? Okay, so the next function that we'll see is basically the insert function, where you want to update a string, right? That suppose you have a string and you want to change it, you want to add something to it, right? So you have this two arguments. The first is where you want to insert, and the second argument is the position where you want to insert. Okay, so again, I'll first explain it in detail, and then you can actually see how it works. Okay, so let me just go back here. Okay, I respond to the queries in a while, right? Just let me do this example, and then maybe I can respond. Okay. Okay, so let me take string one, right, where I write a. Okay, and okay, suppose I have this. Okay, and I want to change it. Okay, because this is an incomplete sentence. So suppose I want to add this in the beginning. Okay, this is I want to add in the beginning. It means that my string should be this a book. Okay, so where do I want to insert this new part? This I want to insert it at the beginning of the string, right? I want to insert it at this position. So what will happen when you call the insert function? The string will be inserted here and everything else is shifted to the right. Okay, it will not be overwritten, which is the good thing. Okay, so what you will do, you write s1 dot insert. First argument is the position. I want to insert at position 0 in the beginning of the string, right? And what do I want to insert? I want to insert this. Okay, and I also add a space so that they are not joined together. So these are 4 characters and then a space, so they are total 5 characters, right? So I'm saying go to position 0, insert these 5 characters. So it will do that. And whatever the string was previously, it will be shifted to the right, means it will not be overwritten, right? Which is a good thing, right? Otherwise, if you see if it is overwritten, then you have to manually adjust it. So what it will give as an output. So after this, you get this as an output. Okay. Now, again, this is not a grammatically correct sentence, right? So we say it should be this is a book, right? Now I have this string, I want to insert is here. Okay, so what is the position? You can count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. After the space I want to insert, so I want to insert here at 5, right? Because I'm inserting after the space, otherwise there will be no space. Okay, so what you will do now, you can do s1. Okay, do remember when I write s1 dot insert, now s1 is updated. Okay, means s1 has changed now. So now if I call this function again, this s1 has the new value, which is the updated value, right? It's not like that s1 is the original one, s1 is now changed. So now I write s1 dot insert at position 5, you insert this thing which is this. Okay, so now what will happen, your string will become this is a book. Okay, so you see again, fairly simple, right? But there's a slight difference between this function and the previous one. Okay, so let me go here. When we were calling the substring function, the original string remains unchanged, right? When you write s1 dot substring, s1 does not change, and whatever answer you get, you copy it in a different string. On the other hand, when you are calling this function insert, right, this is actually changing the original string. This is like you can relate it with, you see, call by value, call by reference, something like that. That when you are calling this function s1.insert, so actually s1 is changing, and you can verify it by printing s1. So you actually don't need another variable to store. Okay, similarly when we say this, so this is inserted at position 5, and you see initial string was a book, then we added this in the beginning, then we added this new string in the middle of the string. Okay, the only strange thing that you might observe is that we are manually counting the characters. Okay, and you might be thinking that practically it would not be like that. So this is very much true. Presently we are manually counting things, right? But later on, as I'll show you an example at the end of the lecture today, that these numbers will do automatically, right? Because in a program you are not manually, you never manually count the characters. Okay, we are since trying to understand how the function works, so for that I'm doing it. But later on, of course, this counting would not be manual. Okay. Okay, the next function is again, you can say a combination of these two, which is called the replace function. And what is the replace function? It has actually three arguments: position, length, and another string. Now, what it will do, that suppose you have some string and you want to replace something and insert something new, right? Now, what does that mean? Maybe explain with an example that suppose outside the classroom there is a digital board on which it is flashed, right? Maybe this is a door of your classroom, right? And there is a digital screen on which it is flashed that which lecture is currently being held, right? So we say, okay, at this point in time, technical writing lecture is happening, right? So the string is, say, technical writing lecture. Okay, I'm just relating it with something you can think of in the real world. Okay, now suppose the class is over. Okay, and now it's the lecture of OOP has started, right? So we, of course, you can take a new variable and you can write OOP lecture, right? But we say, okay, lecture is already written, why not just change this part, subject? Okay, because lecture will always remain lecture. We don't expect any lab in a classroom. So say, okay, replace this technical writing with OOP. Okay, similarly, when OOP ends and discrete math starts, replace this OOP with discrete math and just keep this lecture same. Okay, this is just an example. You can of course say that I will replace the complete string, right? But since we have to see the replace function, that's why I'm giving this example. Okay, so now how can we do that? You will write s dot replace. Okay, now it has three arguments. Let me explain them one by one. The first argument is the position where you want to go. So I want to go at position 0, okay, because I want to delete these two characters, okay, T and W. I want to remove them. Replace is like deleting characters and inserting new characters at the same location, right? So I go to position 0, I write a 0 here. How many characters I want to remove? I want to remove T and W. How many? Two characters. So I will write 2 here. So what will happen? It will go to position 0, remove two characters, and instead of those two characters, what is the new string I want? The new string I want is OOP. Now you see OOP has 3 characters, but it will not make any difference. It will remove 2 characters, it will insert this new string, irrespective of how many characters it has, and rest everything is adjusted accordingly, right? So what it will do, now if you print it on this digital screen, so now it will show OOP lecture. Okay, now you have to tell me that OOP has ended and now discrete math has started. So can you tell me what statement I write in my program so that the screen now shows DM lecture? You can just type that statement in the message window. What should I write here? Okay, of course it would be s dot replace, but just tell me what I should write here. OOP should be replaced by DM because OOP has finished and next lecture is discrete maths. Okay, Ji, yes, very good. I think all of you have written it correctly. Now it will go to position 0. It will remove 3 characters. They are gone, and now the next string would be DM. Right, very good. I think all of you were able to correctly write it, right? So similarly, you can use it maybe in the middle of the string as well, right? If you have to do that. Okay. Now let's see if we have something. Okay, the next function is again very simple one, which is the erase function, and you can just guess by the name. It is actually just like I have an eraser on the whiteboard. It will erase the string, right? If you just call it like this, it will erase everything, right? So whatever the string was, when you call erase, all the characters are gone. It is a string of length 0, which is an empty string, right? Means there is no character. You have quote starting and quotes ending, right? Of course, you can also call this function like this, and you can guess now what it will do. It will go to position 10 and erase everything from that position till end of the string, right? Just like we were doing with other characters, right? For example, if I have a string, say lecture, right? So what it will do if I write 3 here. So this is 0, 1, 2. This is position 3. So it will remove all of this part. It will only keep this part, right? And similarly, you can also say pass it 2 arguments, and now you can guess it's exactly the same thing. Go to position 0 and erase 2 characters. Okay, so it is exactly the same syntax or the same interpretation which we have been doing previously. One important thing in all of these functions is that you see, for example, when we were dealing with substring or replace or insert, okay, so a thing in which some of the students mix up is that you see when we are talking about position, we start from 0. A, B, C, D, E. So I say this is 0, this is 1, this is 2. So if I pass 2, I am talking about C. But when I talk about the second argument, I start from 1, that 1, 2, 3. Why is it so? Because position is an index which starts from 0. When I say length, I am counting. So counting always starts from 1, right? For example, if I ask you how many characters are this, you will say these are 2 characters. You will say 1, 2. You will not say 0, 1. Okay, so sometimes you must have also observed that when I'm talking about position, I start at 0. When I'm talking about this, I start at 1. Why? Because the second argument is counting how many. When you say how many, you start at 1. The first argument is index or position. That's why we start at 0. Okay, although it is a very trivial information, but still some of the students mix these two, so that's why I explicitly discussed it. Okay, now let's go to our you can say one slightly different function which will answer many of your queries, that why we are counting and why we are actually not doing things automatically. So yes, position starts with 0 and counting with 1. Yes, this is exactly like that. Okay, so now you see we'll be talking about a function which is a very useful function, which is called the find function. Okay, and find function will actually search for a string in another string, and what it will return you, it will return you the index or the position where that string is lying. Okay, so to explain it, maybe I have a comprehensive example in the slide, so let's go there, right? This we have seen already. So yeah, this is actually the find function. Okay, so this y is a string which you are searching, and you are searching in this string x, and it will return you an integer which is the position where the string was found. Okay, now with this description, maybe it does not convey the idea. So let's see a concrete example. Okay, and then we discuss. So s1 is a string, today is a good day, and these are actually the positions or the indices, just like you have an array. Okay, now what statement do I write? S1 dot find, and I have to search for this string day. Okay, now you see day is appearing maybe 2 times in this string. So how this function works? Okay, it will start its searching from the start of the string. This is not day, this is not day. When it comes here, so you see it has found this string day. Day has total 3 characters, but this function will return you the starting position of this string, which is 2. So when you call this function s1.findDay, it will give you 2 as an output. Okay, of course, day is appearing here as well, but this will give you the first occurrence only. Of course, I'll tell you ways if you want the other one how to do that, right? But so if you can run this program, the output would be day found at index 2. Let's see one more example, right? S1 is a string. This is an example. S2 is exam. Okay, we have to find exam in, you can say, in this string, right? So exam is appearing at this position. So this is sorry, 1 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and here exam is starting 11, right? E is starting at 11, so it will give you 11 as an output, right? And it is also possible that the string you are searching for, it does not exist, right? For example, if I am searching for exan, right, then this does not exist, right? So in that case, it will give you a -1, right? Because -1 is not an index, so everything other than -1 is valid. So on most of the compilers, in some compilers, it gives you something else, right? But on most of the compilers, it will give you -1, which is an indication that this string does not exist in the string which you are searching for. Okay, now you see, as we saw in the previous example, the same string can appear multiple times. Okay, so how to actually search, maybe not from the start, but from a given position. Okay, so now we have slightly changed the example. Suppose I say string s1 is today is a good day. Okay, and I just write, just forget what is written here, just focus on what I'm writing. I write s1 dot find, and I want to search the string o. Okay, now if I run this, then the first occurrence of o is here. So it will give me 1 as an output, that I found this string at position 1. Okay, but there's another overloaded version of this function in which you give a second argument. Okay, and this second argument is a position that starts searching from this position. Okay, so in this example, we have given it 5 as the second argument. So we are saying that this is my string. You have to search O, but start searching from position 5 onward. It means if it finds an O before that, it will ignore it. Okay, so now you see we have said go to position 5 and then start searching. Now when you start searching, so where is an O? This is an O. It is at position 12, so it will give you 12, right? So similarly, if you give it position, say maybe 12 onwards or 13 onwards, or maybe 15 onwards, it will start searching from that point onwards. Okay, so you now have a provision that if you want to start search at a particular position, you can give a second argument to this function, and it will be starting at that position. Okay, you can actually do it repeatedly. For example, you want to find out how many total O's are there. Okay, so can you think of an algorithm? What we'll do, I'll find it the first position, which will give me 1, and then I will say, okay, start searching from 2. Then I will find maybe 12, and I will say start searching from 12 plus 1, which is 13. Okay, so you see, you can use a while loop, and you can write a program that you find the first occurrence and you know its position, and then you say, okay, start searching from that position plus 1. Okay, so that it does not give you back the same thing. So you can actually repeatedly do that, and you can write a very useful program which is actually searching for a string or a single character, right? Okay, before we do one more, you can say we see an application, one more example, and then I can take your queries. There's another version of this function which is called rfind. Okay, this is a different function, not overloaded, because name of the function is different. This R stands for write. Okay, we write from left to right. Okay, but this rfind is saying start searching from the right side. Okay, means in the reverse direction. So let's see how this function works. We again have the same string. Today is a good day. Instead of calling the function find, we are now calling the function rfind. Okay, that from the right side, what is the first occurrence of day? Okay, so you see, instead of searching from here, I search here. So this is day. Okay, and when you are searching from the right side, it does not mean this is 0, 1, 2. Okay, no, this the position will remain the same. So day is found here, means you are searching from this, but what is the position? Position is actually 16. So don't think that if you are searching from right, you are saying 0, 1, 2. This is fixed. The first character is 0, the, you can say, last character is whatever you have in the string, right? So when you are saying write find, you are actually searching the last occurrence. ठीक है ना? What is the last occurrence of day? You can look at it from that perspective, that when you say find, it gives you the first occurrence. When you say rfind, it gives you the last occurrence of day. So there are maybe this string day is present at many positions, but the last occurrence is this one, which is at position 16. Okay. So now maybe this is slightly tricky, so maybe we can discuss your queries related to the find function.